All right, in today's explainer, we're going to unpack the science behind something we all deal with: stress. We all know what it feels like, right? But what's actually going on inside our minds and bodies when it hits? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with a really basic question that gets to the heart of it. A lot of us think of stress as something external, that tough deadline at work, getting stuck in traffic, having a fight. But is that really what stress is? Because it turns out the science shows it's really less about what's happening out there and way more about our reaction in here. Stress isn't just the thing itself. It's this complicated dance between the situation and, well, you. So what that really means is stress isn't just some big bad thing. It's an adaptive response. It's actually how your body and your mind get ready to take on a challenge. So you got to think of it more like a process, not just a pressure. So let's start with the biology, the real nuts and bolts of what happens inside your body when that stress alarm gets pulled. This is a survival system that's literally millions of years old. So this guy, Walter Cannon, he was a total pioneer. He was the one who first figured out this powerful, basically built-in survival mechanism that gets an animal ready to either square up to a threat or get out of there. It's this ancient automatic program, and it has one job: keep you alive. Now, I know this chart looks a little complicated, but it shows this lightning-fast chain reaction that kicks off the second your brain senses danger. It's like a set of dominoes. The first one falls in the hypothalamus, which flips a switch in your nervous system. That signal zips down to your adrenal glands, and bam! Hormones like epinephrine flood your system. It's this incredible, perfectly timed sequence designed for immediate action. Let's just break that down real quick. It all starts in the brain's command center, the hypothalamus. It sends a message to the pituitary gland, which then pages the adrenal glands, those little guys sitting on your kidneys. And they are the ones that unleash that huge surge of hormones, like adrenaline. It is a super precise sequence built for one thing and one thing only: immediate, powerful action. And this is what that hormonal surge actually feels like. Your heart starts pounding to get blood to your muscles. You breathe faster to get more oxygen. Your vision kind of narrows, your pupils get bigger, all to focus on the threat. And digestion? Yeah, that gets put on hold, because who has time to digest a sandwich when you're running for your life, right? None of this is random. Every single one is a specific change to get your body ready to survive. So here's where we hit a snag in modern life. The fight or flight system is perfect for short, intense threats, running from a predator. But what happens when the predator is a never-ending project at work, or money worries, or a tough relationship? What happens when the threat just doesn't go away? Well, that's when the system can start to backfire, and we go from a quick, helpful response to chronic stress. And this exact question is what got this one endocrinologist, Hans Selye, really interested. He started noticing that no matter what kind of long-term stress his lab animals were facing, they all started to show a similar pattern of physical problems. And from that, he figured out this predictable three-stage pattern our bodies go through when they're under stress for a long time. Okay, so stage one is alarm. This is your classic fight or flight. The initial shock. Your body sounds the alarm and gets all its resources ready to deal with whatever's happening. But if the stressor decides to stick around, your body moves into stage two, resistance. Now it's trying to adapt, to find a new normal while still dealing with the threat. You're still on high alert, but man, it takes a ton of energy to stay in this state. This is when you might start feeling kind of cranky, or you just can't focus. And finally, if the stress still doesn't let up, the body hits the wall. Stage three, exhaustion. At this point, your energy is just gone. The tank is empty. It's like you've been running a marathon at a sprinter's pace for way too long. The system just can't take it anymore. And that leaves you wide open to getting sick, feeling down, and just being completely wiped out. Okay, so we've got the biology down, but here's where the story gets really, really interesting, because this is where we come into the picture. Celia showed us what happens physically, but what's the thing that decides if that alarm bell keeps ringing? Well, that signal comes from your brain and how it interprets everything. And that brings us to this huge idea, the transactional model of stress, from two psychologists, Lazarus and Folkman. I mean, their work was a total game changer. It put our appraisal, our own personal judgment of a situation, right at the very center of what stress even is. So get this, the stress response isn't just some automatic, knee-jerk reaction to something happening. Nope. It's actually triggered by how you think about that event. Their theory lays out this two-step mental process that decides whether you actually end up feeling stressed at all. So, what does this appraisal look like? Well, first is the primary appraisal. Your brain unconsciously asks, okay, what's at stake here? Is this a threat or just whatever? Then, almost at the same time, you do a secondary appraisal. All right, can I handle this? What have I got in my toolbox to deal with it? And stress is what happens when you decide, yep, this is a threat, and I don't think I can handle it. And that right there explains everything. It's why public speaking can be absolutely terrifying for one person, but a fun challenge for someone else. The event is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the appraisal. One person sees a huge threat they can't handle. The other sees a challenge they've got the skills for. And that, my friends, is where we find our power. So, knowing all this, what do we actually do with this information? How do we go from just automatically reacting to things to actively and consciously responding? Well, this is where we get into the science of coping. Generally, coping strategies fall into two big buckets. First, you've got problem-focused coping. This is where you try to change or get rid of the problem itself. Stressed about a big test? You make a study guide. Then there's emotion-focused coping. You use this when you can't actually change the situation. Like you can't make a traffic jam disappear, but you can work on managing how frustrated you feel about it. And here's the thing, you really need both. Think of it like having a really good toolkit. You need the right tool for the right job. Problem-focused tools help you take charge, making a to-do list, asking a friend for help. Emotion-focused tools help you find some calm in the middle of the storm, doing some deep breathing, going for a run, or just venting to a friend. The real secret is knowing which tool to pull out and when. And I want to share this quote from Cellier because, wow, it's a powerful reminder of why this stuff matters so much. It's not just about feeling better right now. He's saying that chronic, unmanaged stress takes a real toll. It has a cumulative effect. It literally ages us. And that's not meant to scare you. It's meant to show how incredibly important it is to actively work with our stress. So let's wrap this all up. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that stress isn't just something that happens to you. It's an interactive process. Yeah, your body has this ancient, super powerful response system, but it's your mind, your appraisal of the world, that holds the key. By understanding this whole journey, from the biological trigger to your mental appraisal to how you choose to cope, you have way more influence over your response than you probably think. Your stress response is a tool. The only question is, how are you going to use it?